welcome to another wonderful masterclass hosted by the IAPC&M. I'm your host, Elena Nedeva, APC, and I'm delighted to be here with you today. 9th of June, today, in celebration of World Accreditation Day, we are hosting 4 complimentary masterclasses themed around how to be a better coach. We kicked off earlier with Lisa McMurthy's masterclass on exploring how the nervous system states impact motivation, mindset, and achievement, and how to coach for deeper, lasting transformation. As a reminder, this masterclass is recorded. To ensure quality of the recording, please mute your microphones, but keep your videos on. The session today is going to be interactive, so please feel free to unmute yourselves when you would like to ask a question or put it in the chat. I will read it out loud for everyone. You're also encouraged to fill in your CPD logs with key takeaways and ideas. And in case you don't have the template, I will insert a link to a copy of the IAPC&M, which you're very welcome to use. So please grab your notes, notepads, pens, sit back, listen, and enjoy. Today with us is Eileen McCotter Davis. She's the founder of the Holistic Coaching School and has completed over 10,000 coaching hours. She presents workshops and masterclasses and has a track record of mentoring over 100 coaches. Eileen holds certifications as an advanced holistic mindset coach, holistic lifestyle coach, and NLP. She's also accredited as a fellow at fellow level with the IAPC&M. Eileen's passion is to equip coaches with mindset strategies and holistic concepts to empower their clients to achieve profound transformations. To firstly understand and learn how your ego works, get out of your own way and learn exceptional coaching skills and techniques using intuition, theory, and an abundance mindset tools. Her ethos runs through everything she does. And that by teaching the ego to work with you, you can empower yourself to embrace love, manifest financial abundance, and achieve unbelievable energy and health. Eileen also has a lot of Irishness in her. Today, Eileen will explore negative self-talk. You will leave with practical tools to quiet the noise, reframe negativity, and strengthen your inner coach. Transform the way you speak to yourself, because the most important conversation you have is the one inside your mind. Without further ado, over to you, Eileen. I'm delighted to host you today.
Oh, welcome. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it, Eleanor. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you here. Yeah, we certainly want to make this quite interactive because for me, I feel we learn best when we listen and then we get to ask things or share with one another. I might even later today put you in a breakout room so you can share some of the concepts here with one another as well. So if you can just let us know where you're from and if you are a trained coach or what you do, that also really helps in terms of me just steering the content similar to what you do, if that makes sense. That would be great. So self-talk, how to improve self-talk. Not that any of us on here have any negative self-talk, do we? We are just perfect human beings, she says with a big smile on her face. So I've been teaching this topic for a long time. I've been coaching a long time, and I coach anyone from children going through exams, from people running their own businesses, also companies as well, people in relationships, you name it. And self-talk is a topic that appears over and over again. So did you know we have like 6,000 thoughts a day? And I like to say within a company, when I go and coach them, how many of them are kind, helpful, or empowering? A lot of them thoughts we're not even aware of at times, but some of the thoughts that we have in our day sometimes are not kind, helpful, or empowering to self. Yeah, we could be very different with friends and loved ones and colleagues than we are with ourselves. So your self-talk shapes your confidence, your performance, and your well-being. And in this masterclass, I'm going to share with you a strategy that I use with the coaches that I train to be coaches, and also with clients that I have myself who want to move forward, and how they're getting stuck. And ultimately, that is the dominant voice is stopping them from progressing. So please, guys, ask anything at any point. So we're going to look at what is self-talk, where does it come from, different types of self-talk, what most people do with self-talk, a lot of coaches that come to me with some of their models, and how the holistic coaching strategy is quite different. I'm going to share that with you so you can ideally help yourself and your clients after today. So again, most of you who are interested in personal development already know a lot about this topic, but I love to ask my clients what they know, because for me, self-discovery is about a client knowing more about themselves so they can then get their own answers from within. So what is self-talk? Who would like to share what you think it is, or type if you don't like talking? You can unmute and shout, or type away.
I'm happy to chime in. Hello, Eileen.
Thank you, Stuart.
So I guess for me, it's a combination, actually. Is a little bit of a running dialogue. And then my self-talk often just ends up verbally shouting out, in terms of, it's not always not always nice, and comes out with like a jesting tone. Oh, you big dummy, you idiot, you big dummy. But then actually trying to grab hold of that and go, no, you're not a big dummy because you just spilled a bit of milk or whatever. So for me, it's those kind of two things.
Yeah, love that. Thank you. So that inner dialogue, and for you, you notice it can come out in a bit of jesting way. That's often a masculine way of self-talk, but underneath that, it could be quite critical and condescending. Yeah, get that. Thank you for that, Stuart. And for being so honest as well. So, self-talk is your inner narrative. It's constant, by the way, and often unconscious. It can reflect your beliefs, fears, and past experiences, and often starts in childhood from, surrounded by our parents and siblings, or cultural conditioning. So that's kind of what it is. The bit that people forget sometimes, there are two forms of self-talk. There is positive. That's the inner dialogue that you have of compassion, encouragement and truth, where you go, now these are my values, this is how I want to live, or go on, you can do it, off you go. So there's positive self-talk. Then there's a negative self-talk, the voice of fear, shame, and inner criticism. Or as Stuart could have said, it could be that like name calling, you dummy, you idiot, you can't do that, who are you to do that, for example. So particularly today, my clients don't often need help with positive self-talk. It's the negative self-talk that can get in the way of the love life that they want, the health that they want, or the career and the financial abundance that they wish to have. So where does it come from? Where does self-talk come from? So who would like to chirp in on that? Where does negative self-talk come from? Who would like to unmute and answer that one?
It's the schoolroom.
Yeah, the schoolroom.
Being told to get things right all the time as we're growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. So brilliant for you. It could have been the school environment. You've got to do it right. That's not right. Can you do it better? Thank you for that, Duncan. Anyone else on here? Where does our
conditioning?
Sorry, what was that?
Social conditioning.
Yeah, social conditioning, absolutely. On what's expected, society, etc. Brilliant. Thank you for that.
On that society kind of level, is it less, is poor inner talk less of a thing for, say, Americans, because they're quite upbeat and big? There's not a problem with bigging someone up, is there? in America, but like the UK, we're particularly bad for it.
Yeah. So Gwen Stewart, thanks for your experience. So yeah, you could say, actually, could it be a cultural thing, going back to that kind of social conditioning? Certainly, that's my experience too. Yeah. So it comes from early conditioning, without a doubt, a bit like you're all sharing. We absorb the tone, the tonality, people's actual words, how we hear them, the energy of how our parents, teachers, and caregivers are around us. And as children, it's not only how they speak to us, it's how we hear how they speak about themselves or around other people. Yeah. So for me as a child, I would go to church with my family, kind of, you know, as a child, you're kind of dragged along to church. And I'd be like, oh, this is all nice. Everyone's singing, everyone's happy. And then I'd come out of church and then I'd witness adults kind of talk about each other. So again, as a child, that was quite confusing because it's like people are quite negative and judgmental, if that makes sense. So often it's early conditioning. Then it can become an emotional memory in our nervous system, in our body physically, also in our brain. And then we can have, I call it ego patterns. So that's when we face challenges, because parts of our own development is where we learn to become the victim, the punisher, and the rescuer. And we can hear those voices from our parents, siblings, teachers, where we could felt bullied, someone has the victim voice or the rescuing voice. It's my job to help other people. And then we form our own inner dialogue of the victim, the punisher, and the rescuer. And that's like a triangle, an archetypal pattern of behavior that as we grow older, we all get into. And that can help us feel safe, in control, or accepted, even though it's negative. So I want to give you a few self-talk statements that we might have heard. You know, what if it goes wrong? What if you go and do that, little Johnny, and it goes wrong? You're being way too sensitive. Yeah. You should be doing better by now. Why aren't you further ahead? Why can't you be more like so-and-so? Look at what they're doing. You know, I always mess things up. I can't get things right. That's not the way to do it. You need to do it a different way. It's too late for me, etc. I should be further ahead now. So there are just a few self-talk statements that many of my clients have been exposed to, and they're stored in their subconscious. And then as we get to a certain age, that is how we talk to ourselves, if that makes sense. I want to give you another diagram, and I certainly don't mean to overwhelm you here. But on this diagram, most of us walk around believing we're pretty conscious, and that's like the top of the iceberg on what you see. And most of us have this mask, I'm fine, I've got this, I kind of know what I'm doing. Underneath that though, we have this protective part of our ego, where we go into the rescuer, the victim, and the punisher, where we either feel we have to be the high achiever or the underachiever. And this is when we have these inner voices that help us to feel safe, stuck, or believing we're not good enough. These voices do not want us to grow. These voices do not want us to be abundant or do something risky, because our brain is wired to protect us. And then underneath that is the inner child and the true self. So your true self wants to explore, wants to have experiences, wants to live life to the fullest, wants to go and do stuff. But then the inner child wants to feel safe, to feel seen, and to feel enough. But these parts then step in to protect, and then we go out into the outside world and we pretend we're okay when we're not. And that's why I coach many very successful people who deal with so much negative self-talk on a daily, regular basis, but it's just not shared. And I would love to share this more, that this is normal. We all have self-talk. Yeah, it appears in different ways. And it's coming from a protective part of us. It's trying to keep us safe and in what we know, so that we just stay safe. That's it. So if we can understand that, then we can work with the voices. Has anyone got any questions on that? Has anyone got any questions so far on that? Are we all good? Yeah, good. So number 3, there's different types of self-talk. So we know what it is. We kind of know where it comes from. And again, you want to educate your clients on this. Then we want to look at the different types of self-talk. So this is when I like to make things a little bit fun, because when I show this to my clients, they go, this one is me. Yeah. So you have the self-blamer, the part of your brain that just likes to blame self. Yeah. That is often come from the victim archetype, where we internalize and blame self. We have the fault finder. Yeah. That only focuses on what you've done wrong rather than what you've done right. That links to kind of like the Punisher archetype. We then have the disaster predictor. This is the part that goes, oh my God, nothing's going to go right. Everything's wrong. Yeah. And then we have the black and white thinker. Yeah. So again, I've just called these names so people can have a bit of fun with this and be a little bit lighthearted with this. So the self-blamer is when you automatically blame yourself for everything. So there may be your client where there's a part of them blames themselves for everything. The fault finder is when this client will just magnify aspects of a situation, filtering out the positive ones. So if you are helping them to grow their business, they will only focus on what they haven't done. If you're helping them with health, they will go, I shouldn't have ate that Mars bar and I didn't make it to the gym and I should have, I haven't done that and I should have done that. But you'll be like, but you've been going to the gym for 3 months and you've been doing your food prep. But their brain will just pick on the fault. The disaster is you automatically anticipate the worst. This is when a client will go, no, I'm not trying anymore. It's not going to work out for me. I'm done. Yeah. And the black and white thinker is a part of you that sees things only as good or bad. There is no middle ground. Yeah. Happy, sad, good, bad, negative, positive. There's no middle ground. So can I ask you all now, and you don't have to openly share this, which one do you see in you the most? Which one of those do you see in you the most? Now, again, if I talk to you about your love life, you might have a different answer if I talk to you about your career. So I'm going to share with you all about your career. Which one do you see in you when it comes to your career? Is it the blamer, the fault finder, the disaster predictor, or the black and white thinker? Would you like to type that in the chat box, or you can unmute and shout it out? Or are you all evolved and enlightened and perfect?
I think I see myself. Hiya. I think surprisingly, I see myself as the disaster predictor, and I wouldn't have necessarily honed in on that one, but just giving some thought to how I want to grow my business at the moment. I am catastrophizing and thinking, oh my God, these are all the really, really extreme things that could happen that are really quite unlikely, touch wood. So, yeah,
absolutely. So once you can get a client to kind of notice and put a label to it, because the brain, if we like it or not, likes labels so it can understand something, you can go, oh, actually, the disaster predictor in me is just catastrophizing. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And then you can go, and what if it does that So part of you is protecting you to stay safe, stay with what you know. Yeah. So it's good to link which one, so you can see the behavior in yourself, because when it happens again, you can try and separate yourself from your behavior. Now, this is what I find is a big challenge with helping someone to change their behavior, is how can you separate the behavior from the person? Because we kind of attach the behavior onto the person. And labels like this, where we can have a bit of fun and we're honest that we all do this in some way, can help a client, number one, to feel that they're normal, and two, it can affirm the behavior, so then they can change it. So thank you, Kim, for your courage there to see it. Yeah. Who else would like to share?
Yeah, I'm going to create a new type.
You can do that too.
I'm the spiralizer that goes through all of them.
Like it, the spiralizer. Good. So it starts with one and then leads into the other, and then the other and the other. Yeah, brilliant. So for me, what I'm hearing there, where you're in yourself, your brain goes to the family unit and you become the victim, the punisher, and the rescue archetype. So those three patterns of behavior come out in all of them and all kick off, if, as you said, spiraling. Good. So the great thing, Stuart, for you now is just to notice that's a pattern and it's not who you are. And once we can create this space, we can fill that space with new action, new positivity. So thank you for that, Stuart. And again, you might be one in one area, you could be one in another area of your life, or one could filter into the other. Yeah. So
Eileen, we have, sorry to interrupt, we have a few more in the chat. May I?
Yes,
now?
please. Yes.
Great. Sean Taylor is saying, the fault finder for me, the most, I think, then the self-blamer, and then the other two, I think.
Yeah, good, brilliant. So the one comes in first, the fault finder, yeah, and then that one, that self-talk gets all the attention, then it goes into the self-blamer, it personalizes inward, yeah, and then it can go like the disaster predictor. What's the point? There's no point. Yeah, love it. Thank
and
you.
And one more, please. So Duncan Russell says, at work, I'm a fault finder. At home, I'm a self-blamer.
Interesting. Yeah, again. And again, this is really great to share with a client, because when they see it, when they go back, you know, after this session with you, they can start identifying it and say, this is not who you are. This is how part of your brain is trying to protect you. Because the brain is about protection, not joy. Its job is not to make you smile. That's what your soul and your spirit is about. Your heart is about. Your brain is just meant to keep you safe in what you know. So thank you for that. Oh. Hola. So my dog has just decided to be really, really noisy. Come here. Good. So this is what most people do with self-talk. And this is what I started to notice as a coach, what lots of people were doing. And often it wasn't helping a client. And I did some of these as well when I started off coaching, and then went deeper into where does self-talk come from and how can we change and work with self-talk. But this is what most people do. Let's ask you guys, actually, what do you guys do when you notice the self-talk is going on? What do you try to do with it? Who'd like to unmute or type in the chat box?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in again. Sorry, stealing everyone's time. I guess for me, it's observational, you know, especially when it comes out of my mouth, that I catch it and kind of go, hang on a second, you know, is that true? Is sort of my power question, because typically it's not true. And just kind of reframe it for the reality that it is.
Thank you. Brilliant. So again, this is great because you've done a lot of introspection and self-discovery. You're able to catch it, able to pause and ask it a question, is this true? Even though often you know it's not. That's great. Anyone else, other kind of little strategies that you might do?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm completely honest, I kind of shush myself first, which isn't always great, and just go, shut up, Kim. But then, depending on mindset at the time, I'll delve deeper just to go, why, why is that the initial reaction? What, and then just try and peel away some of the layers as to why I felt that way. And is that all of me or just part of me that feels that?
Love that. Thank you for that, Kim. And again, for your honesty, often most people do try and shush the voice, or they try and ask the voice a question, why? Yeah. Now, the challenge with a why can sometimes open up a question, or a why can make another part of you feel really defended. Like, why didn't you make your bed? Why didn't you do your homework? So again, it's the tonality of the why that could come across interrogational, which will piss the self-talk voice off, or if the why is coming from a more invitational, compassionate space. So yeah, thank you for that. So I want to share a few other things that people do. Often when the self-talk happens, people believe it. They just believe it. Well, I'm no good. I'm not going to be able to be a coach. I'm not going to be able to grow my business. I'm not a good parent. And they just believe it without questioning. They assume the dialogue is true. They suppress it or ignore it. So they try and shut the voice away or ignore it. They let it control their choices. So they kind of believe it, and then they avoid taking risks, speaking up themselves, or setting boundaries. They then rely on it for motivation, where they try and prove the voice wrong. I'll show you I can do it. And they have a battle with the voice, and they use the criticism to push themselves forward. This is where many clients have, gone and done a marathon. One of my clients, she was like, her brother went, "You're not going to run a marathon." She went, "Yeah, I will. I'm going to run that marathon. You just wait." So she ran this marathon to prove him wrong. It nearly killed her. She didn't like it. And the brother wasn't even bothered about the marathon, but she had the internal self-talk that she had to keep to proving herself. So that's when we can rely on it for motivation. It can define your identity, and you start to believe that you're not good enough. Because when you hear the voices over and over again, or certain aspects of your life, you can start to question your own being. You can judge yourself, and you feel guilty or ashamed for even having the negative self-talk, like I'm positive or I'm successful and I shouldn't be having this self-talk, and you can judge yourself for it. You can repeat old patterns, and this is when we carry voices from childhood without even realizing it. Or we can struggle alone with it and think that we're the only one that have this inner dialogue, which can be negative, and we don't share it with anyone else. This is what I've found are most people's strategies when it comes to self-talk. So number 5, how to help a client with self-talk. So this is through my experience of coaching people for the last 15 years and coaching coaches how to be holistic mindset coaches for the last 7 or 8 years. I'm working with enormous amount of self-talk, including my own, is this. I call it the care approach. Number 1 is to, when you're working with a client, help them to choose a goal or something they wish to create, something they want to do, and then look at how the self-talk shows up. So that goal or that wish could be, I want an improved relationship with a loved one. I want to go out dating. I would like to set up a new project. I want to go for a career change, whatever it could be. So choose just one thing. Yeah. And then explore how the self-talk shows up. And there you want to look at, what is the voice saying? Yeah. How does it make you feel or think? And how do you usually respond with the voice? So you want to get clear and get the person to write it down. Yeah. Write down what the voice is saying. Yeah. Then how does that voice make you feel? Or how do you react? And then how do you respond to the voice? What do you do? Like Kim said, she quiets it down. Sometimes Stuart said he'll just ask it a question. Yeah. Number 2 is then to acknowledge the voice with curiosity, not judgment. Yeah. And here, often when the voice comes in, most people try and dismiss the voice, ask the voice a question, or push the voice away, or they believe it. What we don't do is explore, what might the voice want from you? Yeah. How old is the voice? So we really become curious about the voice. Is this an old voice, a young voice? Is this masculine or feminine? So this is where we want to acknowledge the voice and become curious about the voice. No, I've noticed most people don't do this. So there's 2 people involved in this, you as the person, and then the voice. When the voice comes in, the person makes it all about them. This approach is when the voice comes in, you be curious about the voice. Does that make sense? So you start to coach the voice and be curious about the voice. Number 3, you then respond to the voice with compassion. So you understand where the voice is coming from and what their perspective is and what is at stake. And what you do here is you listen to the voice, you acknowledge it, and then you kind of say, okay, what is your fear? What is your concern? I can share my perspective. So you have the point of view of the voice and the point of view of your future self. Yeah. Then number 4, you learn to engage with the voice. And so both of you become an internal team member where you both feel valued. I am not seeing many coaches do this strategy. I've seen coaches do a little bit of number 1, a little bit of number 2, often not 3 and not 4. Yeah. They try to fight with the voice, change the voice. Yeah. This bit, how could the voice help you with your goal? What strengths might the voice bring to the team? Yeah. Because here's my truth, which I just want to share, and we'll go back to this screen. What if most self-talk voices just want to belong? What if every internal voice just wants to belong? Not to be fixed, not to be silenced, just seen, heard, and included. And I've seen time and time and time and time again where people try and fight the voice, dismiss the voice, prove something to the voice, and that self-talk just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. This way, can we integrate the voice? And how can you get the voice to help you? So that's the little strategy. Now, what we can do on this call, we have 2 choices. The choice is I can coach somebody through this and you all get to witness how this works. Or you can go out in a breakout room with somebody else and one of you can have a go at going through it and the other one can have a go at being the coach and the participant to have a practice. So you've all got 2 choices. You get to choose. Choice 1, I show you openly. Choice 2, you have a crack at this in a breakout room, so it's private. What would you prefer? It's a vote. Let's have a look. Choice one, choice one. We've got 2 choice ones. Lucy doesn't mind. Lucy. No vote for Duncan. Duncan, you are a coach. You're your own coach. Nice one for trying to fool yourself there. Sean won. Okay, I'm going to do it openly. So let me just... So who would like me to coach them openly on here and go through this? Who'd like to be the live guinea pig? Kim, would you be up for playing?
Go on, why not? I love guinea pigs, so I'll go with that.
Well, right now, can we just give Kim a high five and respect for being openly doing this? And also, we want to help a part of her feel safe. And client safety, for me, is one of the highest agreements I make with myself. So, Kim, at any stage through this, you can answer whatever you want to answer, and you don't have to answer whatever you don't want to answer. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
That way we're helping her ego to feel that she's in control. Yeah, so brilliant. So Kim, do you want to choose a goal or something you wish to create and how the self-talk shows up?
Yes. Would you like a real one that
Oh,
I've got
yes.
a dilemma with at the moment? Okay. So Sean that's on the call, I know well as well. So she'll know very well that I have this dilemma. So I have 2 roles. I have 2 hats that I wear. One of them is a day job that I have built a career on since my early 20s, and I'm in my late 40s now and have always done that job. I 3 years ago started teaching dance and have built up a business, and it's a successful business, and I have reached a squeaky point where it's not possible to continue with both without detriment to my personal life, and I am struggling to make that choice and let go of one of them. And I know in my heart of hearts which one I want to keep, but I can't let go of the other one because it's a very strong safety net. So my goal is how can I safely drop one of those roles to give myself a little bit more time, breathing space and time with my family.
Get that. Thank you for that, Kim, and for your courage and a very real life share that many people go through. So you've got 2 options. One option you've been doing for some time. The second option, it sounds like it's more fulfilling now for you. But what's familiar is option 1. Good.
Yes.
So what does the voice say? What does the voice say in this?
The voice is definitely trying to keep me safe. It's saying that I am crazy considering dropping my day job. It's saying, why on earth would you do that? You've spent your whole life doing this job and building up a successful career. And it's a job that I enjoy, and it's frightened, and it's saying you will regret it. Yeah, you'll regret it, I think, is the main voice.
Brilliant.
So it's a very negative voice.
Get it. Good. And a very real voice. So what it's saying is that you're crazy and that you will regret it. How does that voice make you feel when you hear that?
Frightened. It makes me feel scared. And it makes me put off the decision and just push it to one side and just carry on as I am. Working a lot.
Yeah, that. Love that. And how do you respond to the voice normally when it goes, you're crazy, you will regret it, you're crazy, you will regret it? How do you respond?
I think at the moment I'm agreeing with it, going, yep, you're right, actually. I am crazy. How can I possibly consider that? I'll carry on a little bit longer, and then some message from somewhere will come in and tell me otherwise. But for the moment, I haven't had some crazy message, so I'll just carry on in this safe space.
Yeah, brilliant. So when we look at what most people do when a negative voice comes in, you've said actually you agree with it, you believe it, and you agree with it. Brilliant. So now what we want to do is acknowledge the voice with curiosity. So the voice is saying you might regret this. What would you guess the voice wants from you?
I think it wants me to show that in making this decision, whichever decision I take will be a safe decision, whether financially safe, or it wants me to kind of describe to it, actually, if I dropped one of the jobs and went with the other job, it's saying, please show me how good that will be. In order for me to be settled with that and let you on your way with your choice. I think that's what it's saying.
The voice is saying, I want you to be safe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's saying, also, I want you to prove to me how this is going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that voice wants evidence of safety. Get that.
Yeah.
How old is this voice when you hear it?
It's probably an old man.
An old man, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Now again,
It's my dad.
People never ask this. People don't go hear this with self-talk. They just, go to positive self-talk, override it, journal, say affirmations. But when it comes to a crossroads in our life or any emotional choice, that's when the negative self-talk increases. So now you're saying, it's like a masculine voice, yeah, and it's saying it cares, but it's saying I need the evidence, yeah. So what if now you respond to the voice with compassion? Yeah. So I now want you to hear the voice come in and just say, hear the voice come in and say, you will regret it. Just
Okay.
Say that for me.
So if it says to me, you will regret it, and I hear you will regret it, I acknowledge there is the possibility of regret. However, there is the possibility of living a much more fulfilling and full life.
Right, now let's stop. So what's happened there? The voice has stopped listening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what's happening, the voice is going, I need you to be safe. You need to give me evidence. You acknowledge the voice, but then you went into proving. Yeah. So then now you and the voice are having a battle. Does that make sense? You're battling with one. Yeah. So what I want you to do again, try again. This is brilliant, by the way, Kim. Say the voice out loud and just acknowledge the voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just thank the voice for appearing. Just try that.
Thank you for saying I will regret it. Thank you for caring for me and for trying to keep me safe.
Thank you. Now what happens to the voice?
I think it's a bit more open to listen, perhaps.
Yeah. Yes. Now, this is the thing. If we don't affirm and acknowledge the noise of the voice, it doesn't connect with us. It stays in its dominant posture. So you're trying to say, but this is going to be amazing, this, and this, but it's not on board. Now the voice is on board. Then you could say, ask the voice a question. Would you be up for me sharing my perspective?
So would you be open to me sharing my perspective and showing potentially what a different choice could deliver?
And what's the voice say back?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yes.
The voice is still there. Maybe.
Yeah.
Now just acknowledge the maybe.
Okay. Thank you for saying maybe. And I acknowledge that you're still worried and still care. Yeah, and perhaps we could chat a little bit more.
And then you could say, so what if, just say this, so what if you want me to stay safe
you want me to stay safe
because you care,
and
I want to go out to play
and I want to go out to play
and see what's possible.
and see what's possible. Ooh, that's not easy to say. Yeah.
What happened?
Well, as well as me getting a lump in my throat saying that out loud, I think again, yeah, the voice is more willing because it's realized it's potentially stopping something good.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this is when you can engage with the voice like they're two teammates. And
Mm.
then going to number 4, you could say to the voice, what if I could go out to play?
What if I could go out to play?
And you could help me to be safe in this situation.
Mm-hmm. And you could help me to be safe in this situation.
What if that could be true?
What if that could be true? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ooh.
What
Yeah.
happened then?
Yeah, it seems more collaborative. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. And that's when then you could help the voice. If the voice is about safety, that's all the voice knows is loyalty to a job, safety, not taking risks. That's all it knows.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you bring that? And if I bring the risks and we could create a plan together.
Yeah.
And then you can go into the greatest gift of all is imagination.
Mm.
And then both of you could imagine what would it be like for you to just work for that company full time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what the possibilities could be as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have fun and play and safety, not one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really think I've let myself imagine yet. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah, I get that.
Mm.
So Kim, anything you'd like to share with us from doing that?
It tugged inside a lot more than I was anticipating. So sorry about that, everyone. But it's really interesting how it felt acknowledging the voice and thanking it first, and for what it was there for, why it was there to keep me safe. And from that point felt a little bit more collaborative, like there was a little bit of give there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And can I thank you, Kim, and on behalf of the group for your courage, because change is emotional. Improvement, personal development, love, health, abundance is emotional, because there are those parts of self, those loyal behaviors on what safety is, what it should look like, versus how this other part of you wants to see what's possible for you in a new way. So thank you for that, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions with that? The 4-step process. Anyone got any questions? Anybody got any takeaways? Like, what did you hear today that you think you could take with you from this very brief masterclass. By the way, this is a day's training. I've just shoved this into an hour. This is a lot in an hour. So, Stuart, what did you get from being here?
Yeah, thank you, because 26 years in the business, and I've never heard anyone bring forward the idea of coach your inner voice, like take your opportunity to engage with that individual the way you just did. Absolutely brilliant. And and implementing like that's so easy to do.
Yeah, thank you for that, Stuart. And for yourself, Lucy, any shares?
Me, yeah, thank you so much. That is, again, I really like working with that inner voice, and we have so many of them so loud. For me, the question that I'm taking away is, how old is the voice? Because although we explore where the voices come from, we even give the voice a name and, you know, have a dialogue, asking how old the voice is. I thought that was really, that was a really powerful question as well. Whether it's, whether the voice sounds like an old man or what have you, but how old is the voice? How old has that been living in your head rent free? Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for that. And for yourself, Duncan?
Yeah, I'm not a practicing coach in a professional sense, but I am coaching, or about to be coaching, I think, my son. We have a family situation where there's tension, and I see myself in a coaching role for him. And I think the concept of our identity being one thing and our beliefs being another just opens up space. So the voice is like on one side, and who we actually are in our core is something else. So I'm really interested in that, in trying to get him to open up space for change to happen. And so I'm interested in the detail of the process, but the concept of trying to open up space into which things can change via that thought process of my core identity versus my voice, I think is fascinating and really helpful. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Duncan. And for yourself, Sean, I don't know if you can hear us.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, Sean. Any takeaway you got from being here today?
Yes, I've got so much out of it, and I'm sorry, I was trying really hard to get onto camera and I haven't been able to, but I've been here the whole way through, listening, and yeah, really useful. Everything that we've talked about, and Kim's courage there. Kim, well done. Yeah, I think it's all been really helpful. I think the question of what might the voice want from you, and sort of the teammate, so both parts feel valued but work together. I think that's really helpful as well, and I could hear that through the conversation that you just had. So that's one of my many takeaways for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. We can't see you, but I think we can see a shining light that you are on the ceiling or something. There's a nice shining dot. Thank you. And for you, Eleanor, I know thank you for coordinating, but also listening. Did you get any takeaways from that?
Yes, I would love to share. For me, it was a very useful reminder what you mentioned about that our brains, well, the function of the brain is not to make us happy. So I personally struggle with this a lot because I process a lot of things through my brain. So that was one of the key takeaways. I very much enjoyed the CARE approach to self-talk. It reminded me of the IFS psychotherapy framework, and actually to see this in action, so impactful, was a true privilege. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you. And for yourself, Kim? Any further thoughts, Kim? You've had a chance to process very quickly.
I also pick on the point about that your brain isn't there for fun, which is something that I kind of, for want of a better word, play with daily, to have that kind of ongoing dialogue that it is there, providing another function. But that doesn't mean that we can't have fun. It's just that element of engagement. But having that, I feel very privileged to have been able to have that little mini one-to-one there, whether it be publicly or not. But there is a lot for me to take away there, and just acknowledging that voice, identifying it a bit, and then maybe taking that conversation a bit further, and starting to imagine now, coming out of that, as to what a life could be like. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And that's when I would believe all clients have their own answers within. If we could just, as a coach, hold space and help them with the tools that they can actually get out of their own way. So back to this quote, which I believe in: what if most self-taught voices just want to belong, and how can we help them to feel included, not to be fixed or silenced, just seen, heard and included? So the Holistic Coaching School, we are an accredited trainer and provider. If anyone's interested in joining any of our courses, let us know. And if you wish to follow us on Instagram, that we're trying to get over my self-talk to grow the page, which I'm working on. So you're more than welcome to join me there. So that's it from myself. Eleanor, any stuff from yourself?
No, I would like to thank everyone for joining today, and a very quick reminder that we have 2 more masterclasses to go today in appreciation of World Accreditation Day, very much focused on how to become a better coach. So please feel free to dial in for those. The next one is actually in an hour's time, so that is at 3:30 British Summer Time. For those of you that can join, we look forward to seeing you there. And thank you so much, Eileen, for being with us today. It has been incredibly insightful. We look forward to hosting you again in the future.
You're welcome. Take care, all.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.